Welcome to my review of the full stack Next.js TypeScript Firebase Google Drive clone project tutorial by freecodecamp.org. Yes, that was a mouthful. Here we go. Okay. Basically, 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago, from my recording, full stack freecodecamp.org posted a tutorial video called Firebase Google Drive clone. Recently, in the past couple of years, Free Code Camp has done this a ton of times. They do this throughout the week. I love it. I think it's great. And I'm going to be trying to go through more of these. But the idea is that they get other content creators to share their content or their tutorials on their channel. The challenge here is that it's not the same instructor every time, and it could be hit or miss, right? Sometimes it's really well received, sometimes it's not that well received. However, in order for you to get a full grasp of it as a developer or as someone that's trying to learn on your own, you would have to build it, or you would just have to trust the comments. If you look at the comment section, it's mixed. There are some people that say great tutorial, Theo's going to be proud, great video, all of this. But then there's other comments that there was one that was really funny. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, my list of tutorials: 1, 2, 3, 100. This tutorial with the laughing emoji. That's wild, right? That's a bit harsh. But the reality is, after building and going through the tutorial myself, after building the project, I could kind of understand where the person's coming from. But that being said, let's get into what you're actually going to be building. The outcome is this: you're going to get this homepage where you're going to see your folders when you're logged in. Sign out button. You have the option to add a new file. You have the option to add a new folder. But beyond that, what's happening here is you could do the sign in and sign out using NextAuth. That's a package that works with Next.js. So you could sign up. Once you set up the API keys, the secrets and the ID with Google and with GitHub by going to your account settings, you'll be able to log in using those providers. But you need to set it up in your environment variables. Anyways, once you log in, there's a whole bunch of files. If you've uploaded files, there's going to be a whole bunch of files visible for you, or if files were shared with you. I'll get into that in a bit. First feature, you're able to add a file. You click on choose file. You go here, right? Let's say I want to go ahead and pick up one of these. I really like these drawings that I did that had like code in a cool kind of neon font. Anyways, uploads it. You saw the progress bar there. I don't know, it flashed for a moment. It's not that big of a file, but once you get the file, you'll see that you're able to click on it and it'll open up in a new tab. Now, if you notice here in the URL, it says Firebase storage. That's because all of the files are not being uploaded to your own database. It's being uploaded to the Firebase cloud storage. That's a product that Firebase provides in its suite of software products. And then in addition to that, this URL, it's getting stored in Firebase Firestore, which is here, right? So that's the NoSQL database that Firebase offers, right? The Firestore database is what we're using here. So each file or folder gets added as a new document to this collection. And we could see here, right? Once the file is uploaded to the once the file is uploaded to the cloud storage, we then take that URL and we include it as the field, the file link, right? This field here, we include that as that value there. That way, when we query our database, all of the files that we get, we could display them here. Now, we don't want to show all files, right? Because the database is going to be holding everything. So we want to filter our queries. And so that's also included in the project where you work with the Firebase API, the Firebase Firestore, right? So Firestore database API in order to query the fields. So let's look at that. If we go here, this is the main use. There's also the file upload function that we use, as well as adding a folder. But the main query that we do is we import these functions: the query, where, or, and get docs. And basically we're filtering the database. The idea is that we want to compare what is the parent folder ID, and that's related to having folders, right? The nesting of files. So based on what is the parent folder, those are the files that we want to see. And then the other thing that we need to consider when we're filtering is the ownership. So who should have access to those files? And that's based off of two fields: the owner email, right? We have the owner email, and then the other field, which is the shared with, right? The shared with, which is an array that contains strings of emails. So if we go back here, again, if we click on any of the files, this was one of the features from the project that we added. You could see that you could add an email, and I included just basic HTML pattern recognition to make sure that the email is actually an email or it's in email format. However, if you think about this, this was not included in the project. If we want to share a folder, right? So I got rid of that option of sharing a folder because I didn't, in the tutorial, there was no inclusion of sharing a folder, like the code for that. And personally, I just wanted to get through this tutorial. I didn't want to add that extra feature. But if you think about it conceptually, it's a challenge to add that feature, because if you want to share a folder, well, it's not a challenge, it's just more work. If you want to share a folder, you need to share everything that's included in that folder. So from a programming perspective, you would need to query the database for all the files that share the same parent folder ID, and then also share those files with the user. That way, when they open the actual folder itself, you're going to be able to see that file. And then there's also the issue of, well, what if you have one folder that you share, but then that folder was actually inside of another folder? So it's like you have to do recursive checks to make sure that you're actually matching the same tree structure for what you're sharing, or if you're removing that tree structure. Because basically you're saying, I want to share this one folder that was nested with the other user. So it's like you're creating a new copy of it that the user would then not have a matching parent folder. It could be shared in their root folder, if that makes sense. I just said a mouthful there, but those are some of the issues that present themselves when you think about it conceptually. How do I implement these features to try and replicate what you get when you work with Google Drive, or you work with Microsoft's OneDrive, or any other cloud storage service? So these are some of the challenges that I saw. This is a really simple project in terms of features, but it is a great, I would say, intermediate, or you've already built a few projects, you want something that's more robust, or something that is more involved in terms of using third-party APIs, etc. Another challenge that I found was when working with Firebase Firestore, as well as the cloud storage, the documentation was not the clearest. It was not the easiest to use. It definitely was not at the bottom of the list. Like, it was pretty good, right? It was not that difficult to find what I was looking for. That being said, I wish there was a bit more clarity, all around that. But I think Firebase is going through an update where it's like 2.0 versus the previous version, which I imagine is the 1.0 or whatever that was. So there may be some challenges with that. Again, overall, I think it was a good project. If you want to check out my code, if you want to fork it or whatever, it's github.com/j8ahmed, and it's G-Drive clone. But overall, I would highly recommend it. There's definitely some challenges to following this tutorial in particular, just because there are some steps that are missing, unfortunately. I don't know if there was in the description. Okay, so there's the code. So you could see his code, on GitHub, as well as I'll include mine in the description. And I hope that helps. I hope it gives you a better perspective on how to build this, or what was the experience building this project. Again, credit to the instructor. I thought it was very helpful, even if there were some hiccups along the way. Overall, way better, like way more positive than negative in that regard. But let me know. I'm trying to do more of these, more reviews, to build things and to share my review of them. I don't think I'll get into building full stuff just yet, just because it's easier to do this to start out with and build some momentum. And if there's some interest, then I'll be happy to build these sorts of things, or maybe do streams. I'm not sure, but yeah, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, take care.